One of the things I keep noticing in pastors right now is how quickly kind of the disorientation of our moment seems to turn into some sort of internal or self kind of blame or difficulty there. Ministry, it feels harder, right, than maybe it used to. There feels like there's a lot of effort, and the effort and the fruit don't always seem like they're always matched to each other, and so there seems to be this imbalance. You put in more effort, it doesn't always equal more fruit. Sometimes you put in less effort and the fruit just appears out of thin air. And the thing is that a lot of leaders, church leaders, pastors, don't usually complain about it out loud. They kind of don't really engage with it. It's not a loud frustration, but it's something that's kind of more internal, something that's kind of simmering beneath the surface in a lot of different leaders' lives. I've noticed that when the results don't come, myself included, I think most pastors, we tend to look inward. Yeah, we might blame this or blame that out there, but it seems to be something that we almost always take at least some of the blame upon ourselves. And we wonder, if it's not working, then maybe I'm the problem. I'm the issue. I'm missing something. I'm not understanding something. And so when the map that we're using to get from here to there isn't working anymore, we just assume that we must be reading it wrong, or we must have our wires crossed. We must be in the wrong situation. And that leads us to some really difficult lies that start to really seep into our hearts and our minds. I know some of the ones that I've picked up and that even I still wrestle with on certain days is we hear the lie that comes that maybe I'm not called. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I thought I was called, but it was something else. Or sometimes the lies that I engage with is I'm not equipped right for this, and I need to go get more training or more education or more this or more that. Or if I had what those people had, or had that degree, or had those classes, maybe that would change things. Or another lie that I deal with is other leaders always seem to know what they're doing. And so there's something wrong with me because they seem to get it, but I don't. And maybe I'm just missing it all. And then when we have these lies that occur and we start to buy into the lies, we start to feel the lies internally, a lot of us, we then go into the coping area, right? We begin to find our favorite little coping strategies or our little coping behaviors. Some of us, that's just we sink ourselves into the work, right? And we go from putting in 40 hours to 50 hours to 60 hours. We just spend more and more and more time. Or some of us, we are education and training junkies, right? And so there's always another conference, there's always another something to get to or to go to do more training. Or maybe it's more credentials. If we get that degree, or if we get that certification, or if we get that whatever, then that would be the thing. Or maybe it's just increased pressure on ourselves. Every week we just ramp up the pressure we feel, and we feel like we got to bring it, we got to have more, we got to do more. We try to outwork the uncertainty. And those are just the maybe more acceptable coping behaviors, which many pastors go into the unacceptable ones, right? Of maybe beginning to drink, or using a substance, or watching things on the computer that they shouldn't engage in. And these things have a real cost. Even if they're not the overtly difficult coping mechanisms, they all have a cost to them, right? Exhaustion begins to deepen and sink in. Joy begins to shrink in the midst of doing the work. Even when we do get the wins, we're not as excited about them. Courage begins to narrow, and we don't want to go and step out into the unknown as much. And leadership becomes more reactive. I'm going to react to what's going on as opposed to being proactive and engaging with things on the front end of things. But I want to make sure I'm clear here. This doesn't mean necessarily that pastors are failing necessarily. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think more likely than not, what it means is that the moment is really unfamiliar. That the terrain that we find ourselves in is a terrain that we were not really trained for, or that we haven't been in before. We are in a foreign land with strange and different things that are going on. I don't think it's a leadership failure. I think it's just a moment that we were never given a map for. And I think when we realize that, maybe that gives us a key to beginning to move forward.